Hello, welcome to cave season. I'm Jessica Amos. I'm a mindfulness and meditation teacher, a life transformation coach, and the founder of Stay With Yourself, which is the practice of being who you are, where you are, honoring yourself in each moment. And cave season, to me, is a huge part of learning to stay with ourselves and honor ourselves in each moment. You are watching this video because you have shown and somehow feel drawn to this whole idea around cave season. What is cave season? That is the number one question that I get. So just as nature is putting itself to bed for the winter time, just as the bear is lumbering into its cave for its deep winter's rest in hibernation, just as leaves are falling from the trees and flowers and plants and most everything in nature is going dormant. There's a few things that aren't going dormant in the wintertime, but most things are starting to go dormant. And actually, dormancy of everything in nature started in midsummer. So when we hit the summer solstice around August 21st, that is actually the peak of the year. Summer solstice is the longest day of the year, the most light-filled day of the year. The night is the shortest, the day is the longest. After the summer solstice, we start moving towards winter solstice 6 months later, which is December 21st, and the days are slowly getting darker. So if you think of seasons, as a cycle where summer is at the peak and winter is kind of at the bottom, and spring and fall are here over on the sides, these very transitional seasons, you'll see that summer, longest day of the year right here at the peak for summer solstice, and shortest, darkest day of the year here down on the winter solstice. And those mark the start of summer is when it starts getting darker out, and the start of winter is actually when it starts getting lighter out. So here at the peak of summer, nature is starting to go dormant. It's starting to dry out from those hot summer days. It's actually, if you're really paying attention during the peak of summer, you will begin to notice that the season has already started to change and turn into fall. So here we are right here at the very tail end of our autumn season, because I'm making this video here in mid-November. We're about a month out, 4 weeks out from December 21st, which is the winter solstice. And the days are increasing, getting darker and darker and darker and darker. We just experienced the time change. If you're in a zone or an area on the globe where the time gets set back by an hour, we just experienced that. So it's a little bit lighter in the morning and it's getting much darker earlier in the day. Someone said to me, oh, we hate the time change. I hate that it's getting darker. It's like, it's not getting darker. If you were to remove clocks from our life, just as all of nature does not live by a clock, the days are getting darker whether we set the clocks back or not. So it's just really important to remember that this time of year, we are literally moving towards the darkest day of the year, which is December 21st. And as we move towards the darkest day of the year, it's just our days are getting shorter and shorter and shorter. We feel more tired. We don't have as much energy. We have more energy when the sun is out, but as it gets darker, we start to lose energy and we can start to become and feel really emotional and tired, and we can wonder if there's something wrong with us. There's nothing wrong with you. This is just something that's happening in nature. So when I teach about following the seasons, right? When I have 4 seasonal courses literally on winter, spring, summer, and autumn to help us follow these cycles. When you really start paying attention to the rhythms of nature and you start to kind of match your rhythms to the natural rhythms of nature, because we're all just animals, living in this nature-filled environment, we start to feel more natural ourselves. We start to find our essence pace. We start to move at a more natural pace. But I'm not really deviating here, but I'm just trying to give you all the information so we can talk about cave season appropriately. So this is the time of year when literally, if you really look around, the bees have gone into hibernation. The bears have gone into hibernation. The trees have dropped their leaves and they're going dormant. They have gone into hibernation. the ants, we get sugar ants, a ton of sugar ants on this giant ant hill that I live on where my house is. We don't have ants scouting and trying to hunt right now. Everything is going underground. All the little critters are going into their little caves and their little burrows. Societally, this often is a time when we are ramping up because of the calendar year. It's the end of the year, and we have Thanksgiving, and we have Christmas, and we have the New Year. Then we have the first of the year when we're setting resolutions and we're creating new habits, and it's go, go, go. And it's very counterintuitive to what's actually happening in nature. So we have to make an active choice to follow nature's rhythms and follow our natural rhythms and our natural essence pace, our natural pace, more than following society's pace. It doesn't mean that we're going to remove ourselves completely from society, but we are going to make some changes and some shifts to our life at this time in order to be like the bear, to be like the bees, to be like the trees, going into our caves and taking some rest. The reason rest is important, the reason why nature goes into rest, is we cannot be productive all year long. Again, if you look to nature, whether it's the animals, the insects, the birds, the fish, the trees, the plant life, everything has a season of dormancy. Everything in nature has a season of dormancy, and we all do it a little different, just as everything in nature does it the way that they do it in nature. So you have to find your own way. And that's always what I encourage. That's my work here, is to help you stay with yourself. So you've got to find your own way. But we all need to have a season of dormancy. And winter time and late autumn, or mid to late autumn, throughout the winter and even into mid to late spring, is a time to start exploring the dormancy during this bottom half of the year when things are much slower. If we really take our time to go into our caves, prepare for deep winter rest, take it easy, don't have as many things on the calendar, sleep, do our inner work. Winter time and cave season time is the perfect time for doing the deep inner work, letting the fires of our creativity start to burn. It's a really, really beautiful time for incubation or gestation, just like a mother who is pregnant and carrying a baby to term. That is really what the winter season is for. We go into the darkness, we incubate, we meditate, we contemplate, we get in touch with our shadows. We start to integrate our shadows. We maybe face some difficult things. We let those unseen hands of life, of God, come in and touch us and heal us in the darkness, in the infirmary of our cave. So this is a beautiful time of healing. I have chills right now just talking about it, because I'm so passionate about how important this is for our culture, for our society, for each of us to have a season of dormancy. And you have like a full 6 months to really explore your cave season. So I like to go in to my cave right at the beginning and set the tone for the rest of the 6-month season. For you, it might look different. I have, clients and students and friends in my space who work jobs that are, literally driving UPS trucks during the holiday season. Like, that is their busiest time of year. But after that, it starts to die off. And then that's when they take their cave season, maybe at the end of January, beginning of February. For others, you have first of the year stuff maybe happening with family or work or business. And so maybe your cave season has to happen in March or even earlier, like October. So we all get to decide when we start to go into our caves, just as things in nature, some things die off sooner, right? I think about crocuses are one of the first flowers to bloom in spring. And they die away really early on before we start experiencing tulips and daffodils and roses and all the other flowers that come later. And crocuses have been dormant for over 6 months before they come out again in the spring. So again, this is just illustrating that we all have our own natural rhythms, right? And it's wonderful to have that flexibility around that. So cave season really is, to me, the time of turning inward and going inward and finding the ways that work for us personally in order to do that. I have, over the years, and this has taken me years to build up, because seasons are happening all year long, following the seasons. Spring comes around every year, summer comes around every year. It's a little different every year, but it happens every year and it happens in its own way. So this is the kind of practice where you're not just going into your cave just this year. You are going into your cave every year, and you can start to build up habits and routines. So I've been doing this practice around coming into seasonal alignment for, I don't know, 10 to 15 years, I would say. So when I say it's cave season for me, I have it down. It doesn't mean I'm perfect at it. It doesn't mean I don't need to change it sometimes, but I know what I need because I've been doing it for so long. If you're new at this or you haven't done it very much, have some grace with yourself. Do what you can. So here's some examples of what works for me when it comes to going into my cave, preparing to go into my cave. I am a teacher. I'm very active. I have a lot of clients, I have a lot of students, I have a lot of groups that I'm a part of. I do a lot of teaching gigs. I travel a lot. I also really love being at home. I love doing things with my kids. I have a full life and a full schedule, and I really like it that way. I also love having lots of downtime. So I know almost always that even if plans are being made back in March or January for later in the year, I know I am not putting things on my calendar come mid-November to mid-January. I just know this. And the people in my life know this. So the mastermind groups that I'm a part of, and my meditation groups that I'm a part of, and some of the free community events that I lead, they know that I take, 4 to 6 to 8 weeks off from all of those activities this time of year. And I give them fair warning, and I let them know I'm going to go into my cave and I'm going to go restore myself, and I'm going to replenish myself, and I'm going to really enjoy the luxuriousness of having more time on my hands to just rest and meditate and incubate and go inward. This is really cool because it's actually inspired some other people in my life to do the same thing, but it's taken me years to just slowly work up to this and recognize what works for me and what doesn't. So again, you get to figure out what works for you. I know we can't always, wipe everything off our calendars, but for me, I just try to get as many things off my calendar as possible. It's a wonderful time to drop out of obligations or ongoing commitments or ongoing meetings or anything like that, and just letting people know you're going to bow out for a couple weeks or a week, or you're going to take a week off. Like I said, mine is 4 to 6 to 8 weeks. For you, it might be, 2 weeks might be a little edgy for you to wipe things off your calendar. But here's the thing, the world's not going to fall apart if you take time for yourself. Let's not wait until we're sick. Let's not wait until we're burnt out. Let's not wait until we find ourselves in the hospital or having a mental breakdown before we finally take the time to recover. If we can actually start taking care of ourselves and replenishing ourselves before we get to that point, we're going to be able to go into spring. And I can't even tell you how often this happens when you can go into your cave, when you can rest for the winter for those 2 to 4 to 6 to 8 to 10 to 12 weeks or longer, really keeping life very simple with as few commitments as possible, and really starting to find your own essence pace, really connect with yourself, even letting yourself get a little bored, and a little confused, and then kind of break through that in order to maybe connect more deeply with your creativity or your deepest desires. Springtime's going to come around, and spring is a time of rebirth. It's a time of creativity. It's a time of bringing what was just all the things that are gestating inward, bringing them outward. It's truly a time for giving to birth to whatever was gestating inside of you. So it's truly, if we just trust nature's cycle, if we just trust that it's getting darker and we're being called into our caves to rest and turn inward, and we trust that process, I promise you that come springtime, it's going to feel very, very rewarding. So cave season to me is just the beginning. and it sets me up for the whole rest of the winter. Because I take all this time to wipe some things off my calendar and to pull back from so many activities, it actually clears a lot of space in me to then re-enter. I don't fully re-enter the worlds after my cave season period is over in mid-January, but I come back clear on what I still want to do and what I don't want to do. So sometimes I drop out of commitments and I don't pick them back up after my cave season is over. And other times I come back to those commitments rejuvenated, refreshed, and 1,000% more engaged and more heart connected than I was before. And many times there's new things that come about that I maybe want to do with my time. So again, it's a time to just reset. So what do you do in your cave? What do you do in your cave? It's cave season. What are you going to do in your cave with all this extra time? It's dark outside. A lot of people get sad, seasonal affective disorder. They get depressed. They don't like the rain. They don't like the cold. They don't like the, right? Well, for me, I'm one of those people, and I've had to do a lot of work around making peace with winter, and peace with winter has come, and it is now one of my most favorite seasons. It's a season I look forward to because winter is truly a time of restoration. That's the name of my winter course, is Winter Restoration. So actually the names for all my courses all have a natural, easy pace to them. So we go from winter restoration to spring renewal to summer slowdown to autumn ease. So, you know, it all gets to feel really good overall. But winter, because it's cold, because it's dark, because we get sad, because our we have shadow work that we need to do during that time, it can be hard. So how can you support yourself in your cave? For me, I put my flannel sheets on my bed. That's when I buy my candles. Actually, I have candles lit right now, and it's like 2 p.m. So I will wake up early in the morning. I will put on some deep, sultry, like really warm music. I love those deep bass tones in music, and just something that's just like so moody and lovely. I'll drop a playlist into the email I'm sending out with this video. And if you're watching this video and it's way later and you're not on the email I'm sending this out to, just message me and I'll send you the playlist. I'll include the playlist with this video. So deep, I call it deep, dark, sexy, moody music that, you know, turn on early in the morning, light your candles. I don't buy candles all year long. I buy these beautiful, tall columnar candles at the start of each cave season. And I wake up in the morning, I light those candles. And a lot of times I burn them all day long until evening time. Or I burn them through the morning until about 10 a.m. when it's more light outside. And then I light them again about 3:30 or 4 in the afternoon. And they burn all evening long. And it's a really, really lovely energy. You have them in the kitchen, you have them in the dining room, you have them in the bedroom, you have them in the bathroom, you have them in the living room. It's a beautiful ritual to just wake up in the morning and just light your candles and turn on some music, maybe light some incense. And don't be stingy with that heat. I know that a lot of us live in scarcity around, you know, we don't want that high heating bill, but you know what? When we are relaxed in our bodies and when we're warm in our houses and when we're comfortable in ourselves and in our environments, there's so many beautiful manifestations of abundance that arrive to us where we're happier, we're more peaceful, the world's more responsive to us, and we actually find that things go better for us when we're comfortable in our bodies and in our homes. So turn the dial up on the heat, be warm. Get yourself a new cozy sweater, a new scarf, some lovely slippers, some favorite sweatpants. Like really cozy yourself up, make yourself warm, and make it really nice and luxurious. Buy that cashmere sweater, gift it to yourself, treat yourself, right? Like winter's rough. We need to have nice things. Like this is the best time of year to get yourself some nice things. It doesn't have to be expensive. There's cashmere sweaters at Goodwill all the time. I find them all the time at Goodwill. So it doesn't have to be expensive. Just treat yourself. Make it luxurious. Make it nice. Light those candles. Eat warm food. One of the things that I do, I love doing this. I have a crock pot recipe for steel cut oats. It's literally overnight oatmeal. I put it in the crock pot at 9 p.m. before I go to bed. I wake up at 6 a.m. and they are literally done. It takes me about 15 minutes to put everything in the crock pot, maybe less, turn it on low and just let it cook overnight. And those overnight oats, you can double the recipe. You can also just use the single recipe, but those oats last me and my kids a full week. So we can wake up every morning, throw some oatmeal in a bowl, stick it in the microwave, and boom, you have warm food at the beginning of the day and you're really warming your body. It's very important to eat warm, solid, heavy foods in the winter time. Another thing you can do in your cave is some like active movement to keep yourself sweating and moving. Sometimes when it's cold or it's dark, we just want to go like this. But even just movements like this, opening your body, doing big movements, putting on your coat, going outside and going for a brisk walk, getting that cold air into your lungs. There's something very powerful about bringing that cold air into the body. It's super cleansing. You get some breath work in there. Go out in the cold. Again, if you need to treat yourself to a nice big parka and some warm boots and a good beanie, do it just to make sure that you get outside. It doesn't have to be long. It doesn't have to be for much, but go outside and just drink in that fresh, clean winter air. There is no cleaner air than winter air. It is so ice cold and it just is super revitalizing and refreshing for the body. So just 10 deep breaths outside in the cold weather and in the rain as well too. Rain is deeply cleansing. I'm one of those people that loves water. I love water. I love swimming in water. I love going to hot springs. I love taking hot showers. I love baths. Like, I'm a water person. And I'm still learning to make peace with rain. Like, I don't want to go in the rain. I'm going to get wet. And it's like, rain is another form of water, some of the purest, freshest water that could ever touch you. So go be cleansed. If you're in a bad mood, if you're having a hard time, just go let some raindrops or snow fall on your face. Let yourself get wet. Go have fun. Go play. It's another thing we can do in our cave. Make yourself big pots of stew and soup. Just like with the oatmeal, you can make a big pot of soup and you can have leftovers so that you can always be warming your body. What else can you do in your cave? You can finally binge watch The Bachelor or or a Star Wars series or Game of Thrones or, something that's kind of moody that matches your mood. I'm all about mood matching in a lot of ways, just like letting yourself have an outlet for the mood of the season. Give yourself permission to sleep in. Give yourself permission to go to bed at 8 p.m. Buy yourself that really nice hot tea so you can make yourself some hot tea throughout the day. Stay hydrated. Don't just drink coffee. I say that for me, not just for you, because I want something warm to drink. Hot, warm lemon water. You can also add some ginger in there with that too. I have a beautiful recipe for this like healing lemon ginger tonic that you can make for yourself if you like lemon and if you like ginger, because it's a little spicy and a little sour. My mouth is watering just thinking about it. So that's what cave time gets to look like. And enjoy the luxuriousness of no plans at night, of not going anywhere, of not having all these extra activities. Go to work, come home, go to work, come home, and just settle in and Mr. Rogers yourself into your days. So wake up and Mr. Rogers yourself by, putting on your, changing your clothes into your daytime clothes. And when you get home from work, put on your comfy sweatpants and your sweater and let those transitions really be of support to you during the wintertime and during your cave season. Spend time journaling. I'm just giving you all kinds of things that you can do. Fine, if there's one thing you've taken from this and you've taken it already, feel free to just turn this off and stop listening, okay? But there's journaling that you can do. Pick up a book and sit down and read, like a real book that's not on a screen, like an actual book that you can hold in your hand. There's something so valuable about being totally present in your daily life and the simplicity of daily life and daily living. And with music playing and incense burning and candles or a fire in the fireplace and your cozy blanket. Like there's, maybe snuggled up with your pets or your kids or your partner, and even if you're by yourself, snuggled up, and just really enjoying, maybe reading a book or doing some journaling or some reflecting. And again, letting yourself maybe get a little bored in the activity. If we're so used to being busy, we might not remember what it's like to not be so busy and not have so much going on. You might have feelings come up. You might have anxiety come up. You might have all kinds of things that come up to the surface because they need your attention. Now there's room for you to give these things your attention. So breathe through them, journal through them, read through them, call a friend, watch a show, do some yoga, go on a walk, put yourself to bed, make yourself a hot meal, really care for yourself, and really look at those things that are needing your attention. And as you do that, other things will come forth too. You'll start to get new ideas. You'll start to feel more creative. That fear, that worry about the thing that you were struggling with, you'll start to come up with new solutions, new ideas, new ways forward. And you're going to sit with those and you're going to hold those and you're going to see what really wants to come forth. So by springtime, you're going to know what it is you need to take action on. It's the whole idea of be, do, and then have. So we're not doing so that we can finally have the thing we want and then we can finally be. We're being first. We're spending time in the being. And from that being, clarity comes through so we can take inspired action towards what it is that's in our heart, what it is that we really desire, right? And then we're taking inspired action based on the deepest desires of our hearts because we're spending time in beingness, and naturally we end up having what it is that we desire because we're really following the path of our heart and we're taking time for that. It's important to remember that this is hard as well. I struggle with this every year. Like I said, I've been doing this 10 to 15 years, but it doesn't mean it's not hard. Doesn't mean it's not hard to tell people, hey, I'm not going to be around for the next 4 to 6 weeks. Hey, like there's the part of me that's like, hey, don't forget about me. Don't go find someone better to replace me with, and those speak to my personal fears of missing out or of not belonging, or if I pull away, the world's going to forget about me. I'm not going to have a place to belong anymore. You might have your own stories, if you drop the ball, then, oh no, what about money? What about work? What about this? What about that? This is a chance for us to not be in constant hypervigilance and activity and caring for other people all the time. I imagine you're a deeply caring person and you care for so many people. Who cares for you? So we get to care, but we don't have to carry. This is a time to put our burdens down at the door. In my Sacred Habits program, we actually have a practice in, I think it's week 4, the week on self-compassion. We have a leave it at the door jar. We take a jar, we put it outside the door, and we leave our burdens at the door. So anything that you're carrying with you from your life, from your work, from your relationships, anything else, write it on a piece of paper, stick it in the jar, and put it right outside your door. Put it outside, or put it, in your garage or somewhere that's not in the house, and make that your habit too, of taking what's in you and physically moving it outside of you. And then you can burn those later too and really let it go. You can care, but you don't have to carry, right? Fill your own cup first. You can't pour from an empty cup. You cannot give from an empty cup. So, really filling your cup first, knowing what it's like to be an overflow, being so full that you're now overflowing, give from your overflow. How beautiful is that? I love that. So it's a willingness to die, in a sense. It's a willingness to die to life as you know it, a willingness to let your current life die and go into your cave and be reborn and come out new. And it's up to you to trust the timing of that. Look at where you might be able to make room 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, where you're just doing less. It might not be doing nothing. It doesn't mean you're going to quit your job, but maybe you can take some time off work. Maybe you can have some extended weekends. Maybe you can not make any plans ahead of time for 2 to 4 weeks, and see what it's like to just not make plans ahead of time, to not put things on the calendar for 2 weeks. For 2 weeks, I'm not putting anything on my calendar. After that, sure. But for this time, no. And just see what that feels like. So play around with it. I hope that you find this really helpful. I wasn't planning on talking for a full 30 minutes, but this is powerful. So this is like a little mini masterclass, I would say. And if you're wanting support if you're really wanting support, come join the Stay With Yourself Community Sanctuary. This is a space where we practice these things all year long. We're following the seasons all year long. We have monthly themes that we follow, and this month's theme, because it's November, is light and shadow. So really looking at our shadow side and bringing more light into that, and playing with cave season and entering the cave of secrets of our own hearts. And we just follow the seasons together, and we do it in community. We come together and we do bi-weekly calls that are in alignment with the moon cycles, so new moons and full moons. And again, we're just really coming into alignment with natural cycles within nature, and we're noticing how, yes, we're having our own internal process, but when we're talking and sharing together on the calls and in the community around these certain themes and around all these seasonal changes, we find out we're not alone. And it's just so nice to know it's not just me. I'm not crazy. And somehow it helps the sad feel less sad, and it makes the coldness feel less cold, because I know that we're in it together, and you are also over there doing your work, and we're sharing in this together. So come join the membership and be with us in the community sanctuary. That's really what this is all about. That's also where you'll find my shadow work toolkit. It's where you'll find my reparenting and healing your inner child course, which is 2 courses I highly recommend for this season, as well as all my seasonal courses are in that space. We have recipes. You'll find the recipes in there that I talked about today. You'll find book recommendations, product recommendations, our monthly calls, our discussion circles, our monthly themes. There's book club in there, so we read books and we discuss things together. So many resources for you in that space, so you can do your own inner exploration. And as you're ready, you can also share that in community and know that you're not alone. So really just fucking beautiful, I would say. Anyway, if you don't know who I am and you just happen to be watching this for some random reason, again, I'm Jessica Amos. I'm a mindfulness and meditation teacher. I am a life transformation coach, and I am the founder of Stay With Yourself, which is the practice of being who you are, where you are. Who you are, where you are, honoring yourself in each moment. And that's what cave season is for. Going into our cave, resetting ourselves, finding our essence pace, learning to honor ourselves. One of my favorite things I read in a book recently, her name is Gretchen Rubin. She wrote the book, and she just said her only job is just to be Gretchen. And that was her mantra: be Gretchen. My mantra would be just be Jessica. Just be Jessica. And if I don't know who Jessica is, then let's go find out, right? So just be you, and be committed to being you and honoring you and staying with yourself. I hope you found this super helpful. Please reach out if you have questions or want more support, or I can direct you to a resource that would be supportive. But like I said, I have a whole resource library and a whole community sanctuary just waiting to embrace you. And let me know how your cave season is going. I hope it goes well for you. Sending you so much love. May you stay with yourself today and always.